One of, I think, the most important moments from this Trump address was a very important question that I think a lot of people have been wondering about, considering the slow response to COVID-19 from Trump. Does he take some responsibility for standing in the way of actually addressing the crisis?
Mr. President, Dr. Fauci said earlier this week that the lag in testing was in fact a failing. Do you take responsibility for that? And when can you guarantee that every single American who needs a test will be able to have a test? What's the date of that?
Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all, because we were given a set of circumstances, and we were given rules, regulations, and specifications from a different time. Wasn't meant for this kind of an event with the kind of numbers that we're talking about.
So, of course, he doesn't take responsibility. He's never taken responsibility for anything in his life. He'll say that, we were handed regulations. They weren't meant for this. I mean, forget the fact that he's been president for 3 years at this point. And he fired the pandemic response team, was asked about that and said, I don't remember that. That wasn't me. Somebody else did that. The buck stops literally anywhere. Go look for the buck somewhere. I can't see it. And he compared the response to the response under Obama to H1N1 and lied about the response, because within the first month of cases in the US, they tested 1 million people back during that outbreak. In 5 weeks, we've tested 10,000, and he wants you to believe that he's doing a bang-up job and they were losers back then.
Yeah, I don't take any responsibility at all. I think that's what Truman said, right? Word for word. And I think that that's what a lot of American presidents are really famous for. Hey, listen, man, it wasn't me. Oh, that was Shaggy. That was Shaggy.
I think the quote is, ask not what your country can do for you, it ain't my fault. We're not doing nothing.
Ask what your country can do for me, okay? It's not my responsibility at all. The United States president said in the middle of a pandemic when everyone's looking to him for reassurance. Because that also means later when things go wrong again for the 100th time in a row, I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't me, man, it's not my responsibility. I'm just gonna blame random other people. And I'm gonna blame people from 3 years ago, even though I'm the one who shut down the pandemic office. So look, we all know he's a miserable liar. And even the MAGA guys know he's a miserable liar, but they're like, yeah, but he owns the libs. Except when you get coronavirus, and then I guess he owned you.
Well, first of all, he's never met the buck, never heard of the buck. He takes pictures with millions of bucks a day. He could be in, the buck could be just some random person. I think that it is a real chump move to be in charge of anything and not take responsibility for when things go wrong. You can't expect credit and not accept blame, and that's where we are right now, is somebody who wants all the credit and none of the blame.
That's Trump 101.
Yeah, and that's what the speech was. It was half deflecting to other people and making up facts to make it seem as if it's their fault, and then half congratulating himself, and then having a parade of people come up to congratulate him as if we live in some tin pot dictatorship. But that's what he was doing. And in terms of like the need for praise, a couple weeks ago when we had, at that point, 21 cases or so, no one had died yet. And he was bragging, why am I not getting credit? No one has died. And today he was bragging that only 40 people have died. In a month, you don't think he'd brag if it's only 500, if it's only 2,500? What will he be bragging about in the future and demanding that you give him respect for? But look, he was asked a follow-up question because that was not a satisfactory response. So here is Yamiche Alcindor with a response about that.
First question is, you said that you don't take responsibility, but you did disband the White House pandemic office, and the officials that were working in that office left this administration abruptly. So what responsibility do you take to that? And the officials that worked in that office said that the White House lost valuable time because that office wasn't disbanded. What do you make of that?
Well, I just think it's a nasty question, because what we've done is, and Tony has said numerous times that we've saved thousands of lives because of the quick closing. And when you say me, I didn't do it. We have a group of people. I could ask perhaps my administration, but I could perhaps ask Tony about that, because I don't know anything about it. I mean, you say we did that. I don't know anything about it.
You don't know about the reorganization that happened at the National Security Council.
It's the administration. Perhaps they do that. People let people go. You used to be with a different newspaper than you are now. Things like that happen.
But this was an
Please go ahead. We're doing a great job.
So you can't see from that camera angle, but at that point they cut off her mic. They don't do that in press conferences in the White House, but they started doing it today. They cut off her mic for Trump to then talk over her saying, "We're doing a great job," after blaming the doctor for firing the global pandemic response team, I think.
And if you're the president and you don't know that you disbanded your office to handle pandemics, and by the way, you're at a press conference in the middle of a pandemic, and that's news to you at this late date, then you are the worst leader that anyone has ever seen. You didn't bother asking anyone, "Hey guys, do we have anything to handle pandemics? Because we're in the middle of one." Oh, we shut it down? Who shut that down? Was it Tony? You never even asked that before, but of course you know he shut it down. He knows he shut it down, but he can't help but be a miserable liar.
Yeah, I mean, it also should be noted that the woman who asked him that question is a part of the demographic that Donald Trump loves to demonize every time he's in trouble. She's a well-spoken, professional, intelligent black woman, and he has done that left and right during times of crisis, and I just don't think it's gonna work this time. I still think he doesn't understand how serious this is.
We've had to learn his language over the past few years. Nasty means woman of color. Low IQ means black. Let's see, crazy means better populist than me. I mean, he has these labels every single time. You know exactly what he means. But the thing is, he is denied responsibility twice, and it turns out that under the law of there is always a tweet for that, Trump has talked quite a bit about responsibility in the past, and I figured, why don't I read a few of his select quotes about responsibility and leadership. Back in 2013, he said, "Leadership, whatever happens, you're responsible. If it doesn't happen, you're responsible. Unless you're president, I guess."
That's a nasty tweet.
A nasty tweet. In 2013, he said, "To be in charge, you have to take responsibility. You have to instill confidence. It's like being a conductor, set the tempo." He quoted Winston Churchill in 2014, "The price of greatness is responsibility." Well, then I guess we know you're not responsible and clearly don't have greatness. And then I came across this. I can't believe that people haven't been sharing this one. In October 2014, during the Ebola panic, he said President Obama has a personal responsibility to visit and embrace all people in the US who contract Ebola. Although, to be fair, he has been meeting a lot of people with coronavirus recently and shaking a lot of hands.
Oh yeah, a lot of handshakery. And he doesn't quite understand that, like in the presser today, one of the more disturbing moments was when a reporter pointed out to him that he stood right next to somebody in a photo who had tested positive for the virus. And he said, "Well, I haven't tried." It seemed like he didn't understand that not having traveled doesn't mean you're not going to get it. He doesn't understand that like having a lot of confidence doesn't mean you're not going to get it. He completely didn't understand the way that diseases work. And then his first response to it was, "I don't know the guy. I don't know who that photo was taken with." It was,
"I haven't seen the photo," he kept saying.
I haven't seen, well, I guess if he sees the photo, then the germ is like, activate, and it becomes an illness. It's like, I mean, I want to put my head in my hands, but I can't because of coronavirus right now.
I don't get that. I haven't seen it. He loves denying that he's seen pictures that he 100% has seen, and you know he's seen it. And it doesn't matter if you've seen the picture. It's not like if somebody goes to stab you, don't let anyone take a picture because that's what makes it real. It has nothing to do with anything.
No, but in this case, it actually has a deadly effect. Why? So he usually denies that because he views the picture as evidence, and it's usually in a criminal action. There's a picture of you with Lev Parnas, who's now been arrested on some Ukrainian scam. He says, "Oh, I haven't seen the picture. There might be some pictures, but I haven't seen the picture." Meaning like, "Oh, you don't have the evidence on me, and if I don't see it, then it isn't evidence," right? But in this case, it isn't a criminal situation, and it doesn't matter if there's evidence or not. You either have the virus or you don't. The picture is irrelevant. But the reason why there's deadly ramifications is that since he views the world that way, that is why he did not order up more testing as soon as the virus came out. Because he thought if they don't see it, they won't think it's real, then the markets will be stable and I'll get reelected. But again, that's not how a disease works. They're gonna get sick whether they see the picture or whether you test them or not. And he is such a megalomaniac, so obsessed with himself that he can only think about how it affects him. And that is why he's not getting tested, so you don't feel like he's weak if he has it. He doesn't let others get tested, or he delayed it terribly. That's the #1 problem right now we have with the virus in America, that we can't test people, because he thought, well, then if there's no evidence, they can't blame me.
Yeah.
Is there a Winston Churchill quote for that? Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.